Welcome to the second and last part of the Turbo Graphix Advanced Usage video. This video will cover three topics. First, how to properly attach Turbo Graphix layers onto other 3D objects. Next, I'll show how to edit and update existing Turbo Graphix layers. And last but not least, I'll show how to remove old layers and add new ones. Okay, in the last video, I showed you how to use Turbo Graphix to take a Photoshop document and bring it into Maya and bring it in as a Photoshop DAG object, and how to use the Turbo Graphix update translation attribute and toggle that off to move them into the proper position. So I'm going to show you how to properly attach the layers to a 3D object. Now all I've done now is taken those layers and I've parented them to the cube. And normally you'd think this is all you really need to do, and for the most part it is. There's only one catch you need to be aware of, and I'm going to show you that in just a moment. But for the most part you can see that all the layers are now properly attached to the cube just from parenting, and that seems to work just fine. The only problem comes when we try to update the object. We're going to get an error. Okay, this error says, it's expected to find a build layer for each layer. What that means is all the Turbo Graphix layers need to be attached to a single transform that contains build information about each item. So the transform that comes with Turbo Graphix already has all this information in it. So all you really need to do is take the cube and parent it to the original group transform that it came with. Now when you update the object, you'll notice that if the cube is parented to that main transform, the build succeeds. So one thing to make sure of is when you attach your Photoshop DAG layers to an existing 3D object, make sure that existing 3D object exists underneath the main build transform in Turbo Graphix. Okay, now that you know how to attach an object, I'm just going to show you how to do a basic update. Updating objects that have been grafted onto other 3D objects is much the same way you did it before in Turbo Graphix. All you do is you go into your program, whether it be Photoshop or something else, and go ahead and change your layers how you want. Hit save. Go back into Maya, select your object, and hit rebuild. Now you notice I gave the ears kind of like a weird old cheese type texture to them here. So it's not too pleasant, but just kind of shows off how to update things. So let's go ahead and tilt these ears back so it looks a little bit more like ears here. Now something to note about Turbo Graphix is it doesn't care how you scale or rotate objects. When it updates them, it never is going to reset your rotate or scale, so you can rotate and scale all you want without worry. Okay, as you can see, everything's attached just fine, rotating just fine, but these ears look kind of strange, so I'll show you how to undo a change in case you don't like it. So I'm going to go back here in Photoshop. I'm going to undo the changes to the ears, and I'm going to resave. Then all I have to do to get my object to reflect this is you can just select the layers individually if you want, or the whole object, doesn't matter, and hit update. And now you can see that the ears are back to normal. Alright, now that we have our object and he's all good to go, at this point we would probably animate him or modify him a little heavier. To save some time, I already have a version of him that's been animated and modified quite a bit. Alright, if you look at this version, it's pretty much the same thing. You'll notice he has a more interesting mohawk and some earrings, and we'll talk about those right now. Okay, the mohawk is basically the same mohawk that he had before. The only difference is I used an option from the Turbo Graphix main menu to make the surface more easy to deform. Then I just used the soft mod tool to stretch and skew it. Now you notice in the extra attributes, the flag TG allow rebuild has been disabled. Now it's important that this flag is disabled, because if this flag was enabled, if I updated my object, the Mohawk would get replaced by a brand new mesh based on the source data. And we don't want that to happen because we took some time to tweak that Mohawk out and make it neat. Okay, now if we animate the guy, we have a pre-existing animation here, and he just kind of jumps around a bit, and his eyes grow big, his mouth goes small, his ears shake a bit. Okay, so it's a pretty basic animation here, and it's just showing off that surfaces can move around, and we're just going to give a lot of life to that cube with these Turbo Graphix layers. Alright, now the last thing I'm going to show is how to add and remove layers. And you can do this even with the animation and it won't affect it if you do it right. So notice we have the earrings and they're attached to the ears. So all you got to do to remove layers in Turbo Graphix, simply select them and delete them. That's it. So now we've removed the earrings and he looks, he's earring-less. So that's how you remove items. But let's say we want to add items back on. So just for the sake, just for the heck of it, we're just going to add those earrings back on. So what we want to do is we want to import the object into the Turbo Graphix GUI. Now you see all the 2D referenced layers come right back into the user interface. So from here we want to add some new layers. So notice we have these two earrings. I didn't show you these before, but let's say you added them in as artwork. So an easy way to add them in is you could use the scripts like we used originally to add it in, or you could just type the names in if you know them. And sometimes this can be faster if you already know the names and if you have a lot of layers you want to add, then the script is a good idea. But if you only have a couple, just typing the names can be quicker. Alright, now you'll see I have the earrings added in. Something else you can do is if you have update translation on like I have on the pupils, I can move them around here in the GUI and they'll actually be reflected in the 3D environment. So that's what I've done. I've moved the pupils so he's looking up to the top left and I got the new earrings. Then I hit export changes to Maya, and now you can see that his eyes are looking up and left, which is great. However, the earrings are not in the right location. Now, they are actually in the right location if you consider that they're parented to the main build object. So they are technically in the right location, but we don't want them to be there. We want them to be in reference to the ears, which are attached to the 3D object. So what we want to do is we just want to parent these earrings to the ears. And the way Turbo Graphix works is a Turbo Graphix layer that's parented to another Turbo Graphix layers uses its parent layer as its reference point for 2D. Now, all I had to do was update. After I parented the earrings, I just did an update on them, and they were instantly teleported to the right location. And that works great. Now, one thing you'll notice is the earrings are not flush to the ears. But this is easily fixed. All you have to do is reset the transform, just reset the scale and rotation, and you'll notice they're flush with their parent matrix. So now you have earrings that are completely flush with the ears. And that's how you add new layers onto an existing Turbo Graphix object that has been grafted onto a 3D surface. So not too bad, pretty easy to do once you get the hang of it, and gives you a lot of flexibility in editing objects. Thanks for watching the video. I hope it provides you with some great new ideas. Don't forget to shoot us an email and let us know what you're working on.